Alright everybody, what's going on? ICNV Drivers Edition. If you haven't seen my video where GM is now going after the C8 Z06 flippers, check it out over here. But for now, I'm going to get into why I feel like that doesn't fix anything. So, as I was reading the letter to you in that video, so if you haven't heard the information, go back and look at that video. I actually dropped some key information in that video. So if you haven't heard, GM is going after the flippers. I think that's a nice approach to play the shell game and smoke and mirrors again. I told you before, when the last letter was released back in January, it's smoke and mirrors. Is to come out and say something, and I even think back then I told you they would go after the customer before they go after the dealer. And we are now seeing, again, that statement I made was correct. Now, why do I think this won't work? Well, for one, there's a lot of aspects that goes on behind the scenes. So yes, GM said they will void their warranty. They will void the transferability of the factory warranty. But let me ask you a question. Does that really matter to you? If you are a smart buyer, I would say, no, it does not matter. And why do I say that to you? Well, one, and I want to see the paper that GM comes out, if they prevent them, the dealers, from being able to certify the vehicle, that's a good thumbs up. But at the end of the day, any person that buys the vehicle and they already released a disclaimer, because legally they can't do it, is they cannot ignore any factory recalls that come out on the vehicle. And that is key. And I will tell you why it's key, because you haven't lost anything as long as that issue is addressed. You say, what do I mean by that? Let's talk about that. So, if GM voids the factory warranty on the vehicle, oh my God, they're not going to warranty the vehicle, boo-hoo, yada, yada, yada. Well, at the end of the day, if you purchase the vehicle anyway, most people, which I see all the time, are talking about they bought an extended warranty. You can still buy an extended warranty. That falls back on GMAC and their other sub companies. So unless they won't warranty the vehicle, you really don't have an issue. Well, this new strategy of voiding out the warranty and blacklisting people from purchasing cars in the future actually make a difference? My answer is maybe. I want to say no because of the timing. They made this announcement to me too early. If you really wanted to affect people's ability to flip the car or not flip the car, you would have made this announcement a week before the first cars touch the ground. That way people didn't have any time to react. All they could say was, damn, and move forward with that. But at the same point in time, I kind of get your purpose for it, because you're going to open up allocation soon, and you want people to know up front that if they purchase this vehicle, it's going to be a hard sale on the second-hand market. It's going to be a hard sale on the used market. That's going to play a part out on how much money you'll be able to get for the car on the resale side, or when you try to flip it. But the next question I have is, how do they plan to monitor this? Because that to me is so key. And the reason why that's so key to me is, I'm gonna tell you a quick story. So yesterday when the news dropped, I told you guys, you saw the video, I was heading out to meet some friends for lunch. I was talking with an old friend. I tried to get him to come out and have lunch with us, but he's technically a general manager of a store, of a GM store. So he met up with me when I was getting ready to head out and head home, and we started talking about this latest information. And what I can say came out that conversation was, he's definitely waiting for more clarity on how to move forward, because it appears that the dealers are already trying to figure out a loophole to get cars on their lot and to not have to blacklist the customer, which I think that is a key aspect, because as a dealer, it's all about relationships. And I wouldn't want to blacklist the customer for selling me a vehicle. He said he wanted to see some more paperwork and see the specifics of it, because yes, you could void out the factory warranty, the bumper to bumper 3-year 32,000 mile warranty. You can zero that out. You can possibly even zero out the powertrain warranty. But he's not so concerned about that, because he's like, you know, this is car sales. We can still put a warranty on the car after the fact through another source. Now his concern was, will this information trickle over to GMAC or GMPP? And for those who know it, that is pretty much General Motors aftermarket warranty. And the thing about the GMPP is, you can actually sell that warranty on a Ford, a Chrysler, a Acura, you name it. Pretty much they warranty vehicles across the board. They don't just stay exclusively to GM. So his concern is, or his thought is, so even if GM voids the factory warranty, it just means we have to do better on the back end warranty, or we may have to sell cars with a back end warranty built in. So I don't think the whole voided warranty issue is now really an issue. If you got, and I'm sure, like I said, he's a good friend of mine, but I'm sure he's not the only dealer thinking about this, and he's not the only dealer seeing it that as an easy solution to the problem. Or let's look at it this way: by doing so, or making that statement, it pretty much puts the customer or the car flipper in a bad situation. And why do I say that? Because now the car flipper has to deal with the fact that whoever buys the car from him, like a used car store or another customer, and that's the real key. Because you've heard me say countless times, if I was to get rid of Zeus, I wouldn't really trade it into CarMax. I would either sell it at retail value, or I would trade it into a dealer like a Ford store or a Toyota store that's looking to get a C8 to make some money. And why do I say that? Because in the grand scheme of things, there are a lot of dealerships, and I keep telling people this, there are a lot of dealerships with no inventory on their lot. So a used car sale with a $5,000 profit is way better than a no car sale with a $0,000 profit. And that's what people don't understand, because a lot of people focus on what they know or what they think the answer is. So I've had somebody say, hey, CarMax isn't offering that type of money anymore. But why are you selling the CarMax? Take your car to a dealership, and this is the last gem I'm going to give you for a while. Take your car to a dealership that has no inventory. The Corvette C8 is not a hard sale. Any dealership will tell you that. It's actually an easy sale. So if you take your car to a dealer that doesn't have an inventory or a large inventory, they will see your C8 as a home run, or a worst case scenario, some guaranteed income coming in the building. So you'll get a little bit more value for your car at that dealer than you will at another dealer. I'll give you a prime example. For those of you that really been with me from the beginning, you know I had a S550 Mercedes-Benz coupe. And I took it to CarMax. I owed just under $61,000 on the car. CarMax offered me $52,500. So I traded that car in on Zeus. I took it to a Mercedes store, and Mercedes-Benz offered me, they wanted to know what CarMax offered me first, because I feel like that was the trick of the whole trade, which I wouldn't tell them. But they offered me $54,000 for the car. So I kept going around using my car as a trade value for $54,000. Like I tell everybody, the one thing about ICNV Driver Edition, I always tell people this: it's okay to be unique. Don't fit in, stand out, do you. Well, I didn't just buy the everyday S550 coupe that you see. My S550 coupe was pretty much fully loaded with an option that is almost impossible to find, and that's night vision. When I sent the specs to the dealer I got my car from now, when he reached out in his area, and I tell people different markets, different area, for a buy figure on the car, he was actually offered a lot more money. So whereas I was looking at being in the hole in Chicago, the surrounding suburbs, taking over negative equity off my car, I sent the information over to him saying, this is what my car has, this is the VIN number. He never asked me what I owed on the car. He just said, give me a minute, I'll give you some call around. I'll call back, and he called back with that figure, and that figure was $800 more than what I owed on the car. So when I tell this to people, your car may be more valuable in a different market, it's true. And that's one reason why I think flippers are a necessary evil, because they put cars in markets that they normally wouldn't see them in. Myself, exactly. I bought my car to Chicago. I put my car in the Pennsylvania market. But I got sidetracked. I'm gonna get back on the purpose of this video. So the purpose of this video, like I said before, is how is this a bad idea? And I feel like it's a bad idea because you gave dealers time to prepare and counter or make moves to not make this voided warranty / blacklisting seem so bad. As I was talking with my friend from the GM store, who's a general manager, one thing he wanted to know, or he wanted to try to figure out, is how they going to actually monitor who purchased the car and blacklisted them. Because for one, his thought process is, right now, and I know at least 3 people, and he knows almost the same 3 people I know, that are on multiple lists as of right now to get a Z06. So are you going to say, I can't buy 2, I can't buy 3? and I haven't sold the first one. Now, one person I know that's on the list, he's on the list for 4 Z06s. His plan is to purchase the cars and use them as a luxury rental car rent out. And I'll be honest with you, that's part of the reason why I kept saying I wanted to see it when the car actually came out, to see it firsthand and decide if I wanted to actually bail out my C8 to get one, because I know my friend is probably going to get one way before I do. But like I was saying, so as I was talking to him, he wanted to know how they were going to track this, right? Were they going to use the service records, meaning that if I bought the car and then they have a mandatory 1-year service to come in within the first 12 months and somebody else takes the car in, I've now been identified or flagged as an early seller, or I voided my contract with GM about the purchase arrangement. There's another situation whereas he was saying, well, maybe they will utilize the DMV transfer records, which we both know that could be an issue, because if you buy a car, and I'll give you a quick example. I have a friend that bought a car here. He actually got his C8 back in September. Okay, he moved to Ohio to take a higher paying job this past February. So now when he transferred the registration from Illinois to Ohio, in the system, it looks like his car has had 2 owners, but it's actually the same owner. So if they monitor the DMV and you're looking for just a change in ownership or registration that says there's a change in ownership, you can get a false reading, which to me can be a factor. Is I'm sure it could get rectified, but what happens when you go in and actually need service and they're saying the warranty's voided because you are the second owner, which you're not the second owner? It's going to take some time to get that rectified. And that's all I'm sitting there saying. And then again, like I just gave you a quick rundown, there's also using the dealer method of a dealer check, or I'm sorry, it's called an auto check, and a Carfax, but they have the same errors. Well, sometimes they often red flag the same owner as multiple owners, or they red flag dealerships as multiple owners if the car switches hands from dealers. So you have to be aware of that, and he wants to know if that's how they're going to do it. But either way, his whole point behind it all was, however they decide to do it, however they decide to monitor this, it's going to be, he wants to know how they're going to monitor it so they can kind of figure out a way to, I guess, attack this or counter this, or however this is going to play out. Because at the end of the day, the dealer is concerned about their inventory, moving cars and making money. Yes, it's nice to be part of the franchise tag, which brings people in for new cars, but a lot of people don't know this. Most dealers make their money off used cars. The new cars aren't their top priority, or don't sell as often, or have a big enough markup in them to actually make a difference. Sorry if you did not know that. So that's why most dealers will sell you a new car, but they don't really look to sell you a new car. That's the Easter egg. Now, as we're sitting there having this conversation, standing outside of Hooters, almost at 8 o'clock at night, the Ford store across the street closes. And the guy from the Ford store comes over to pick up some chicken wings that he ordered to go. And as he sees us there, he starts complimenting my car. And then we get into a conversation about my car. Then he realizes my friend has on a GM store shirt, and he has on a Ford shirt. And so I told him I was a YouTuber and so forth. He's asking information about my car. He's following me now. I appreciate the love. We've got into a conversation about, well, what do you think about this whole new voided warranty situation with a C8 Z06? And the Ford store guy had his own point of view, which I felt that was funny, Not because it's a bad thing, but because the Ford store sitting across the street actually had, hello? It's interesting because he had 2 C8s on his lot at the time, and then he started telling us about a situation where he had just appraised a C8 and was looking to acquire a C8 from somebody else. And he was saying the C8 is probably the quickest turning car that hits his lot. So he asked me that I want to sell mine, and we got into a conversation about what I would take from our car. Although I just not at the point to move it, because if I move Zeus, it's probably going to be next spring if I decide to move. But we're not there yet, so we'll talk about that later. But so like I was telling him, yeah, I'm not finna move Zeus no time soon. I got some other stuff I need to do with it this year. But he was going into the fact that whereas, and this is where it plays a key part again too, is he needs to know, is this going to be something that's actually valid with the whole blacklisting of customers? Because they're willing to pay top dollar for a car. And what do I mean top dollar for a car? We just had a quick rundown. He was like, man, if you get a car and you say you get it for 10,000 over, because there are dealers that will sell you a car with 10K markup. And so say you get the car with 10K markup, right? And then let's just use base pricing for now. So you got a $106,000 base 1LZ. You get it for 10K markup. That's $116,000. Tax, title, and license. Let's say you're out the door somewhere around $126. Well, he's sitting there saying they will offer a customer anywhere probably between about $132,000 to $136,000 for the car. Their plan would then be to sell the car for $142,000 to $146,000. Well, my question now is, that's how he sees the scenario playing out, which is not actually a bad way. But then on the reverse side, because he was like in the past, they have to take that into consideration to make it worth somebody's actual time. But what he's afraid of is that with the information that just got leaked, and he knows they can put a warranty on the car on the aftermarket side, whether it's through Ford Motor Corp or whatever, but he knows they can put a warranty on the car, so he's not concerned about the warranty being voided out. But what he's sitting there saying, and which was my concern, is, well, if you're the person trying to sell the car and you bought it and you were 126 out the door with tax, title, and license, and now you have dealerships saying, oh man, the warranty void in this car, it's going to be a hard sale. But it's a lie. But it's going to be a hard sale. So when they tell you it's a hard sale, I can offer you 126 or 118. It's not really worth you selling the car. And that's what you gotta understand. It's like, if that's going to be the number that people throw at you, it's not worth them selling the car. Because if I paid 126 for my car, why do I want to take less money for it? If I paid 126 for my car, why do I want to take the same money for it? Because what my friend at the Ford Motor Store was saying, he wasn't my friend, I just actually met this guy, but what he was sitting there saying is, now it forces the used car market to price them even higher, because you have to make it worth a flipper giving a car up. Where in the past, you didn't have to make it so enticing to get a car. Where now is, I have to make it so you can get up out the car and feel like it was actually worth doing the deal. So that's just some key info, some key insight for you guys. And that was my prediction. So it's already actually coming to play that dealers are saying this. So my answer to the question, do I think it will work, is still no. Because you need too much help from the dealers to make it happen. And in the grand scheme of things, dealers are going to find a way to put cars on their lot. I think the problem with this philosophy is a lot of people actually believe flippers care. Flippers have been flipping cars for years. And the ultimate thing about flipping a car is it's always a connection with a dealer. So as long as dealers are allowed to sell cars without or order cars without a sole allocation, you don't have to put a name on a car. Also, you gotta think about it like this, is you just look for a home run. If I bought a C8 Z06 and I sold it for market value, well, guess what? I still have a wife. I still got a father. I still got a mother who care nothing about the C8 Z06. So me putting their name on a list to have them buy a car that I paid for, that I turn to resale and give them some money, or even not give them money because they're family, it's not going to deter me from finding a way to get my profit. So that's why I say this to you, because flippers aren't stupid. It's actually a system in place for them to make money. It's not just one person that's making all these moves that's doing it. Trust me, they have ways around, and the dealers are going to help them. So, ICNV Drivers Edition, I felt like I had to get this video out the way I did because there was a lot of information that needed to be said. I do apologize for the length, but hopefully you can get some valuable information from this, and it doesn't discourage you from whether or not you will be able to get your hands on a car. It just probably won't be as easy as it once was. But either way, stay blessed. I'll see you in these streets, and until the next video, peace.